Now normally when I do these videos I like to do them product straight out the box, and my first attempt is what you see. But I realised when I first looked at my handlebars on my bike that I was going to probably have some troubles. So I had a little bit of a practice run with it first. And the thing to bear in mind when you get one of these phone holders or GPS holder is on your bike. On my case, I can fit it there on this piece, and that limits. I've got an old phone here. Let me just show you with this. It's not the phone I use. It's a lot smaller than the new one. It's just an old one, because obviously I'm filming this on my newer one. But just a purpose of demonstration. It's not properly adjusted for this phone, so it's going to flop around. But if I set it there onto this piece and tighten it up, then that's fine. I can adjust that around for viewing, if I'm using it as GPS, or just generally watching something on it, which I don't really like to be watching a video when I'm cycling, but probably you're going to be looking at a map or something. So you can fiddle it around to wherever you want from that position to watch. But what you can't do is get a comfortable position where you can see ahead if you want to film where you're going. I could film myself if I wanted the camera pointing up at me. That can be set that way and have the camera pointing that way. But to go this way, you can't push that down far enough for it to be able to focus in the view that you're looking at yourself. You can just about do it. Again, as I said, this is a smaller phone than the one I use. But if you've got it upright like that, you can film in portrait. You can just about see then. My other phones, I say, sits up a bit more like that. So if you don't mind filming in portrait, then you can just about make it work from there. You can slide it up this stem a little as well, a bit further up near the top. It's fine. And again, as I say, with my other phone being bigger, stands up a little higher, you can do that. But it's not really ideal. Mostly you want to film, well, I do certainly anyway, landscape like that. And then all you see is your handlebars. You just see a bit above it, but if you can tap the focus to focus on the distance, if you want to film the road just for the heck of it, the road going along in front of you, you could do that, I guess. But any kind of distance, you can't get the adjustment on it. It won't go down any further. So that's the problem with that. I'll just take that out a minute. The ideal spot to fit it would be on the handlebar, either side of the centre post. But on mine, I've got the gear shifters on this particular model of bike come across close to there, don't leave you any room. You put the clamp in, fetches up on the gears. No matter if I put it around there, once I close the clamp it gets in the way of the gears. If I try putting it over here on the handlebar, it interferes with your brakes. You can barely get your hand around it. You might just about, but then you get that lever there, that part of the lever of the gears gets in the way of that part. By the time you've avoided that, then you can't get your hand in there for the brakes. So not ideal in that scenario, because what I wanted to do was have it there with the camera in the side, so it would be somewhat like that, and then I could see what I was filming. As it is like that, I can't do any landscape filming going forward, but what I have figured out that I can do is come in here, and if you maneuver in between the brake cables and mount it on here, wind that in tight there, and then obviously I haven't got the phone in there at the moment, but if you set it up you can see how it would work. You'd have to have the phone, if you want to use the better camera, which is on this side facing that way, you'd slot that inside so you'd have something of a view of the screen and set it to film like that, because then your camera would miss the cables. You'd actually have it up that way so that the camera, depending on your phone of course, but the camera being at the top on this side, for my application anyway, would then miss all the cables and I could film going forward, and the view looking down from above as you're cycling, you could at least see that it was on and the filming light was lit so that you knew you were actually filming. But you're not going to be able to get much of a view of what it is you're looking at. You're going to have to set that up. Looking from here on the front camera, just to line it up and then flip it over the other way and set it up so it films through on the back, the better camera from the back. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, but again, I'll stress this is just on my bike. My old bike that I used to have had a much wider gap. The gears were back here. There was a much wider gap there. I could have quite happily mounted it up there that way with the camera that way and had it high enough up and swiveled around wherever I wanted and got the angle I wanted. But something to bear in mind, you need the most flexibility, and to be able to see what you're filming, you need a good bit of space between the centre post and your gear shift and your brakes. Good clear bit of spare handlebar there, because as I say, once it's on here, you just can't tip it down enough to get the angle to film ahead, just yourself, or to view it. But as I said, that's just me with my bike. It's not particularly a review of the quality of the product. That's more just an application of where you can use it, so just to bear that in mind. But I like the way it fits on there, goes on there nice and easy. Everything's just hand tight. Tighten that up at the back there, so if you're using it to view, read a map or whatever on there, everything's hand tight. And then you can adjust this by turning it around to the size of your phone. That's why that old one was a bit loose, and now I'd adjusted it to my newer phone. But that, my newer phone just sits in there, and then you've got that lever which pulls it over, really clamps it in there tight. You're not going to lose the phone. It's not coming out no matter how bumpy the road is. So really good, strong product. I think you could possibly even like drop the bike, and I doubt the phone will come out. It grips it that well. It's sort of like a rubber grip inside there, top, bottom and sides. And I think if the bike went over and the handlebar hit the ground, I don't think your phone would shoot out. That's got a real good bite to it, and you can adjust it accordingly. Just make sure that you got your volume controls and so on that are on the side of your phone out of the way when you've got that clamp down, so you don't push any buttons you don't want to. But no, I'm really pleased. That's a very good solid mount. Lots of adjustments. As I say, just got to be clear on where you're going to be able to mount it perhaps before you order. As I say, it is overcomeable, that's a word, by using this. Just not ideal for viewing, and you've got to tuck it around the cables, but you can. For a minute I thought I was going to have to try and cut pieces out of this to make the clamp smaller, or make another bar on top of here, but it will work for me if I fit it down there. Just like I say, it's a case of setting it up, and a little bit of a nuisance that if you then want to change it around to view a GPS or something on it, you've got to take it off and remount it there. But I don't really think I'd need that. I'm probably not likely to use that. I'm mostly going to use it for filming, so it'll probably end up sitting there most of the time anyway, for me. Okay, I hope that helps.
Alright, so I do a fair bit of just city biking and whatnot with the family, and really like to have my phone out so I know what speed I'm going, I know where I'm going. And this bike mount I just wanted to share has been super good. I had a previous one, it kind of fell apart. It was pretty not very sturdy, I guess we'll say. That's not the case with this mount. This mount, very sturdy, very well built, and I really like the design. So some of the things that I like about it, this is the jaw that goes on your handlebar. And so you can see this screw, as I turn it, it moves the jaw a lot. So it's really quick and simple to put it on and off of your bike. So with, just a few turns, it's now secured. I back it off, I can pull it off of my bike as needed. So if I was worried that it might get stolen or might go missing, I could pull it off and take it with me quite easily. So yeah, it moves on really quick. It does have a ball mount here on this side, and that matches up to the ball mount receiver on here. So you unscrew this, put this over that and pressure fit that in here, and then you can tighten this wing up and that will secure it in place. So you can leave it a little bit loose, get your where you want it, and then tighten it down, and then that ball mount won't move. So once I tighten this down, now that mount is locked up and it's on there. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that I really like is the fact there's nothing on top. So this is the bottom cradle. So it cradles the bottom of the phone. You can see inside that there is some orange rubber ribbing. So this helps protect your phone, make sure it's not getting scratched. Gives it a little bit, it's not a vibration dampening. It gives it a little bit of vibration dampening, but it's more so there to hold your phone securely, make sure it's not gonna fall out or, you know, pop off the top. So it has this great little cam latch here. So this is what, as I move this cam in, it tightens against my phone. So you unscrew it here for a bigger phone, and then you tighten it up so you get it reasonably close. So if I take my phone and I slide it in, I can then test. So I have the cam, I push this down and see, does that hold enough or not? So right now I can still kind of slip it out of there. So I undo it, tighten it one more turn maybe. I think I loosened it by accident, sorry. Tighten it down, check that. Maybe tighten it a little bit more, check that. So now I can get it to a point where my phone really just won't come out. Like, I'm pulling not as hard as I can, but pretty hard. And I mean, the face of the phone has barely come out. So you can get it locked down pretty tight. The latch itself does seem to have a pressure control. I did try on something else just to see if I could, you know, kind of crush the phone. But you can see as you hook it, as you link it up, that it does have a pressure release. So even though the cam is a little bit tight, it's stripping back to somewhere that's not going to crush your phone. So you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to break your phone, but it will hold it securely. So you can be too loose, but you really can't. You know, if I set it and I unwind it here and it's too loose, the cam won't tighten up enough to get my phone secure. So I do need to tighten it up on the phone first, make sure it's good, and then pull, once it's good, pull that cam latch, there we go, and tighten it up. So this mount is great. The thing that I really like with it that some mounts don't, that come over the top, is that they cover the camera. So with this on here, I can leave it on my bike and I can actually point the camera forward and I can do some cool time-lapse shots of some of my runs. I don't have a GoPro, probably wouldn't be a bad investment, but since I don't, I can actually use the time-lapse feature or one of the video features on my phone and orientate the phone so that it's pointing forward and I can get that cool moving shot while I'm biking. So I thought that was kind of a nice design because my previous one came up over the back and covered the phone. So this holds it nice and secure. It's quick to get your phone in and out. You just flip this little switch, this little lever, flip that, phone secure, pull it open, phone's out. So it makes it really quick and simple to get your phone out. It's not a big process to do that. So I really like the stability and the sturdiness of this mount. I know that there's less expensive options out there, but I truly believe you get what you pay for, and the construction and the materials of this just are better. The design of the cam latch, how it locks on your handlebars, far better than any of the other mounts that I've used. So it's just a lot more sturdy, and I think it will serve you well. So if you're in the market for a phone bike holder, this is a pretty great option. Thanks for your time.
and I found their disclaimer in about less than 10 seconds. Be the Boss is very clear that investors must do their due diligence and research those franchise opportunities that they're interested in. Unfortunately, we had many victims asking us to shut down the website and write charges against the boss. And it was extremely difficult to have to tell them that Be the Boss is actually